Alright guys, it is Monday, August 2nd, 2021 at 11:38 p.m. Alright, let's take a look quickly here. The Bible verse, and let us consider how we may spur on one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Hebrews 10:24-25 on dailyverses.net. I'll leave you the link so you guys can check out more daily verses. Alright, let's start with the next 5 asteroid approaches from Jet Propulsion Laboratory, California Institute of Technology, from NASA. Alright, so our next 5 asteroid approaches, we have asteroid 2021 OE1, which is approximate size of 59 feet, about the size of a house, and its closest approach to Earth is 1,490,000 miles from Earth. Its date of approach or passing will be August 2nd, 2021. Alright, the next asteroid, approximate size is 260 feet, about the size of a building. The name of the asteroid is 2021 OZ. Closest Earth approach is 3,320,000 miles from Earth on August 2nd, 2021. The next asteroid, approximate size is 92 feet, about the size of an airplane. The asteroid name is 2020 PN1. Closest Earth approach, 2,290,000 miles from Earth. Date August 3rd, 2021. The approximate size of the next asteroid is 220 feet, over the size of an airplane. Asteroid name is 2021 NL4. The closest Earth approach is 3,050,000 miles from Earth, and we're passing on August 3rd, 2021. And then the final asteroid is the approximate size is 51 feet, about the size of a house. The name is 2020 PP1. The closest Earth approach is 3,080,000 miles from Earth, and it will be passing on August 3rd, 2021. Those are the 5 closest asteroids on the list from NASA. Alright, let's go to the next story. Bay Area imposes mandatory masking as Cuomo demands private businesses ban the unvaxxed people. It says reimposing mask mandates isn't exclusively the domain of blue states like California, Louisiana. Governor Bill Edwards, as Democratic governor in a red state, has reinstated Louisiana's mandatory mask mandate for all people over the age of 5, regardless of vaccination status, citing the rise in hospitalizations in the Bayou State. The order comes when Louisiana sees the highest rate of new infections per capita of any state in the union. Face masks should be worn at all times unless a person is at home, according to the mandate, which will be in place until at least September 1st. Alright, so we have here Christine N.I. saying get those masks back out. Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, San Clara, Sonoma, the city of Berkeley, and order indoor mask mandates starting tomorrow, even those fully vaccinated. Alright, so it says the counties affected by the orders includes those listed. It says as the mandatory vaccination mandatory mask training chugs on, Facebook has decided to make his working environment even more inhospitable to those who must now return to the office. They're requiring masks even for the vaccinated indefinitely. Says not long ago, after Cuomo made his remarks, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said Monday that he may impose mandatory vaccination requirements in New Jersey too. Murphy said his mandatory vax plans amounted to the absolute floor, meaning the minimum that the government might do. Private sector employers should require more employees to get vaxxed, the governor said, before adding that employees in healthcare facilities and other high-risk venues like prisons, for example, must get vaccinated right away. So, Governor Phil Murphy saying 937 new positive PCR tests, 909,057 total PCR tests, 216 new positive antigen tests, and 132,102 total antigen tests. So the positivity rate is 4.6%, which is exactly 10 million doses of various jabs have been administered in New Jersey as of Monday morning, while 5 million individuals who live and work and study in the Garden State are now fully vaccinated. Among the fully vaccinated, there have been 6,381 COVID cases and 195 COVID-related hospitalizations. Most of the Empire State's residents probably see the Delta variant as a nuisance, but we suspect Governor Andrew Cuomo sees it as an exciting opportunity, because in a press conference that he carried the whiff of his daily briefings from the depths of the crisis last spring and summer, Governor Cuomo asked private businesses in the state to enter vaccine-only admission. And says, private businesses, I am asking them and suggesting to them, go to the vaccine-only admission. Governor Cuomo said, I believe it is in your business interest to run a vaccine-only establishment. In another, obviously political calculation, Cuomo made the statement hours after the local press reported that Mayor Bill de Blasio is reluctant to impose another mask mandate on the people of New York City, though the CDC has already imposed a mandate of its own. Clearly, Cuomo, who managed to survive twin scandals involving lying about the number of deaths in New York State nursing homes and sexually harassing a platoon of aides and wedding guests, sees Delta as an opportunity to burnish his reputation as a leader. Although we doubt the legislature will return to him the unilateral powers that enable Cuomo to choke the state's economy with some of the most restrictive rules in the country. Perhaps he didn't consider the ramifications of his approach, but all his private businesses adopted. But if all private businesses adopted this policy, many unvaccinated people might have trouble buying food. 1 in 8 black New Yorkers would be unable to shop, per New York City's own data. That is the latest. I'll leave the link to this article so you guys can check it out yourselves, of the what Cuomo is asking to ban the unvaxxed in New York. Alright guys, next. Kim Jong-un makes public appearance with strange green spot and bandage on his head. South Korean intelligence as well as the media have of late been closely monitoring Kim Jong-un's unchanging appearance, especially given his clear rapid weight loss of the past months, setting off higher than usual amounts. Says speculation over possible ill health. This speculation has been renewed over the past days and was taking bizarre turn as a commentary on the reclusive dictator's appearance is now focusing on a strange dark green spot on the back of Kim Jong's head. And you see here the spot. It says, judging by the series of images and footage published in North Korea's state media of a military event held during the last week of July, the strange mark seems to result in a prior wound or possible medical intervention like surgery, given the spot was covered with a bandage at one point. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un appeared with a dark spot on the back of his head during public activities last week, the latest health-related issue Kim has faced in recent years. The cause of the nature of the large green spot or bruise in the rear of his right side of his head, which is covered with a bandage, and some footage is still unknown, and it is difficult to diagnose using only images. So here he has that spot in the back of his head, and then here on the right he's got a bandage. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit better so you guys can see. Alright, so he's got a spot in the back of his head, probably had surgery or has some disease or blood clot or something, and he's got a bandage on the right hand side covering the wound or whatever illness he has there. Alright, let's go to, I'll leave the link to this article. Let's go to the next story. Alright, drought, frost plunge Brazil's second corn yields to two-decade low. An agriculture nightmare plays out in Brazil as drought and frost cause second corn yields in the country's center-south to hit their lowest in 10 years. Crop losses due to unfavorable weather may result in shortages and persistent food inflation due to Brazil's as a top layer in global corn production. And there you have an image of the crops in freezing weather. It says, citing a new report via agribusiness consultancy Agricultural said, drought, the frost destroyed much of the crop this year. Brazilian farmers expect to harvest around 51.6 million tons of corn, down to 19 million from last season's 70.5 million. So from 70.5 million down to 19 million. That is a lot of loss of food. So I'll leave the link to this article as well. Alright, next. Astronomers discover two unusually red outer solar system bodies in the asteroid belt. They're red, they're reasonably big, and they have no business being in the main asteroid belt. But their discovery confirms the complex conditions in space when the local system was still forming. So it says new research details the discovery of two extremely red main belt asteroids, 2203 Pompeia and 269 Hustitia. Both asteroids have a redder spectral signature than any other asteroid in the main belt, that highly populated band of asteroids being situated between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Importantly, these red asteroids resemble trans-Neptunian objects, that is, objects located farther away than Neptune, the most distant planet from the Sun, with no disrespect to dwarf planet Pluto. This could mean that 203 Pompeia and 269 Hustitia formed way out there in the Kuiper belt, and then drifted inward when the solar system was still young. If confirmed, the new findings shows how chaotic the conditions were back then, and that materials from different parts of the solar system would sometimes mix together. Alright, so we got these two red asteroids in our solar system, or in the outer solar system. Alright, next. Bright fireballs spook skywatchers from the US to Canada and Spain to Turkey. Says major Perseid meteors captured around the world in July and August 2021 during the Perseid meteor shower. And there's an image of the meteor. I'll leave a link to the article so you guys can check it out. But pretty much every year from July 17 to August 24, our planet Earth crosses the orbital path of the comet Swift-Tuttle, the parent of the Perseid meteor shower. The bits and pieces from the comet Swift-Tuttle slam into the Earth's upper atmosphere at some 130,000 miles per hour, lighting up the nighttime with fast-moving Perseid meteors. The 2021 Perseid meteor shower is expected to produce the most meteors in the pre-dawn hours of August 11th, 12th, 13th, in a dark, moonless sky. Alright guys, so I'll leave you the link so you guys can check out the article of these meteors affecting the area. Alright, next. COVID surging in Florida. Doctors and nurses are back in crisis mode. Every day I come to work and I'm tired and I'm ready for people to be vaccinated, said one hospital nurse. It says Jacksonville, Florida. Debbie De La Paz, a nurse at the UF Health Jacksonville, worked in the intensive case unit during some of the darkest days of the COVID pandemic last year. It was bad, she said, for the first wave, but now it seems to be even worse. So, guys, I'll leave the link to this article. Pretty much, Florida has COVID surging again. Alright, next. Qantas stands down 2,500 staff over Sydney lockdown. It says Qantas says it will stand down 2,500 staff as a lockdown in Sydney impacts the travel across Australia. It says the furlough affecting pilots, crew, and airport workers will last for at least 2 months, the airline said. Qantas said it would pay staff until mid-August, after which they could apply for government support payments. Since June, fresh COVID outbreaks have forced most Australian states to reimpose restrictions. The highly contagious Delta variant has forced lockdowns in several cities and some state border closures. The situation is most severe in Sydney. It is seeing about 200 new infections each day, despite the lockdown since June 26th. Most people in some places trust BBC News. That's an article thing. Okay, nearly all states have banned travelers from Australia's largest city. So there's a lot of blockades happening in Australia. The latest that I heard was that they were even bringing the military and helicopters to try to keep people in the lockdown inside. As says Qantas chief executive Alan Joyce, the latest Delta outbreaks had led to thousands of cancelled flights. Qantas and its budget carrier Jetstar had lost about 60% of their domestic business from May to July, he added. A travel bubble in New Zealand has also been suspended. My Joyce said the airline could no longer keep the 2,500 workers on its payroll. but described it as a temporary measure. Alright, so I'll leave the link to this article as well, so you guys can check out the story of Qantas and the 2,500 staff possibly losing their jobs or being on stand down. Alright, next, record wildfire burns amid drought on Hawaii's Big Island. Firefighters have gotten over control over the Hawaii and wildlife that forced thousands of people to evacuate over the weekend and destroyed at least 2 homes on the Big Island. It says Honolulu firefighters have gotten more control over a wildfire in Hawaii that forced thousands of people to evacuate over the weekend and destroyed at least 2 homes in the Big Island. But officials warned strong winds Monday could rise the danger again. Authorities have lifted evacuation orders but warned they could be restrained at any time. That people should be ready to go. It is bigger fire than we've ever had on this island. Big Island Mayor Mitch Roth said of more than a 62 or 160 square kilometer 62 square mile blaze. Said the drought conditions that we've had, if it is of concern. You see something like this when you're putting thousands of homes in danger. It is very concerning. Fires in Hawaii are unlike many of those burning in the U.S. West. They tend to break out in large grasslands on the dry sides of the island and are generally much smaller than mainland fires. Even though Hawaii has a wet tropical climate, it isn't typically at risk from large fires. Blazes can become more frequent as climate change related weather patterns intensify. The islands have seen a downward trend in their overall rainfall in recent years. Drought conditions have reached the most severe level in some parts of Hawaii in recent years. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, drought that is tied to climate change has made wildfires harder to fight. Alright guys, so I'll leave a link to this article as well. So the record wildfires burn amid drought in Hawaii. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like, subscribe for more news, and see you guys next time. God bless you guys.